In this video, I'm going to talk about how we view and take care or not take care of our bodies after we have children. I myself had a bit of a rocky relationship with my body after I had my children, and I've since spoken about it with other women in my life, and I realized that I really was not alone. So hopefully you will find some things in this video that will resonate with you too. If you don't know me, my name is Annie. I help moms who are overwhelmed and stressed out live a more calm and fulfilling life, especially moms who are raising their children without their own mom around. So being a parent can be very taxing. I think we can all agree on that. Our bodies take a huge toll, and not just during pregnancy and the early postpartum weeks and months, but also later. We might still be dealing with many illnesses. We might be dealing with disturbed and interrupted sleep, not to mention the just weight of responsibility on our shoulders that is constantly there, all the things we have to juggle, all the errands we have to run, running a household. Frankly, having to take care of another human being is just physically and mentally exhausting. And so very often things are chaotic. There are a lot of things to do. We have to think about many things. We have to juggle. We have to take into account. We have to organize. So we spend a lot of our time here, thinking, from the brain. And so by doing that, we neglect, inevitably, we neglect the two other brains that we have. So we have our brain, we have a heart, and we have our gut. These are our other two brains, and we neglect them. We don't really check in with our emotions. We don't check in with our intuition. We don't check in with our body, right? We don't even check in with the physical sensations of our body. And I think that that is quite normal and to be expected, especially at the beginning. But it is a bit dangerous because as a consequence, many of us never quite recover a healthy connection to our body, if there was ever one to begin with. I'm going to come back to that. But what do I mean by a healthy connection? So a healthy connection for me means appreciating our body, not hating it, and tending to all its needs. Now, why did I say that if there was ever a connection to begin with? Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like, especially for women, many of us were never really taught to appreciate our bodies for what they do, right? That is very obvious from the messages that we get when we first get our period. I mean, I hope that things are different nowadays, but when I first got my period, I remember the messages that I got. It was, this is a pretty horrible thing that happens every month. You have to hide it, and it comes with pain, and it's frustrating and all that. So there was a lot of shame linked to it. And basically the message that I got was, it's unlucky that you're a woman and this body is a problem already, right? And despite the fact that when we become parents, we actually grew life inside of us. This is just such an amazing feat. And by the way, not everybody can do this. Males cannot carry a child. We still don't look at our bodies with love and respect because we never cultivated that relationship. So it's like we have to start from scratch, to be honest. This can be present for everyone, but even more so for maybe some women that experience a difficult birth or difficult postpartum months. There might be some grief regarding things that didn't go as planned. So that might make things even more tricky. But in any case, I think that for many of us, that disconnect between the brain and the body gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it can manifest in different ways, such as not tending to its basic needs. And by basic needs, I mean feeling hungry and not honoring our hunger cue, being very tired and not going to bed, being thirsty and not grabbing water immediately, having to go to the bathroom and not going to the bathroom, just really not honoring our body's basic needs. So all of these things can happen. And that is, for me, a manifestation of that disconnect. We neglect to go to the doctor sometimes or to the dentist. We just push things. Later. That is not honoring our needs either. We engage in unhealthy behaviors that we know are not good for us, such as being on the phone too much or binge watching a series or eating too much sugar. All of these things can be destructive, but we still engage in them because there's, again, that disconnect. And most importantly, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, we don't like the way our body looks like or feels like. And that can turn into a very negative voice in our head. And that can really mess up with our well-being. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I think it's quite normal that at the beginning, when you first become a parent, after the first few weeks, you look at yourself and you might not like what you see because there are stretch marks. There might be a different body shape. Your breasts might be really floppy, especially if you breastfed for a long time. Not even for a long time. I didn't. And I still had that problem. Our hair looks different. We might be carrying more weight that we have difficulty shifting. We might have looser muscles because we don't exercise as much. And to be honest, just because we're aging and time flies when you have kids, you look at yourself in the mirror and you might see gray hair, you might see more wrinkles appearing, and you also have less time to go do shopping and really think about what you're going to wear in the morning, so you end up wearing the same things all the time. So there's so many factors coming together in making you feel like you don't like what you see, basically. And that's focusing a lot on our external appearances, which again, I want to validate that. It's okay. It's normal. There's just so different. Your body looks so different. It's normal to have those feelings at the beginning. And by the way, if you want to lose weight, if you want to feel better in your skin, please do so. I'm not arguing that you should just accept everything and not do anything about it. And also, if you have tried to lose weight, or if you just feel really crappy and fatigued and all of that, please go to your doctor. Again, that's one of the things that we tend not to do, but go to your doctor and tell them. Tell them that you're not feeling well. Tell them that you have difficulty shedding weight. There might be issues going on. You might have a problem with your thyroid. You might have deficiencies. You might have low iron and you're feeling fatigued. So, please go to your doctor and advocate for yourself, and be prepared to hear from them that, oh, you're a mom. Oh, well, you just have to wait until your kids are a bit older. It's kind of normal. Comes with the territory. There's nothing I can do for you. No. Advocate for yourself. Don't accept that answer. So a lot of us see these things, see our different bodies, and we don't like what we see. And we get into a trap of wanting to go back to how we used to look like. For some people, that's maybe possible, but for most of us, it's not. Because whether we like it or not, we carry the life for 9 months, and some things we're just not able to get them back. And I think that a big part of us wanting to go back to the way we used to look like is this pressure to bounce back, I think they call it, right? And all that pressure that we get from the TV or from social media in particular. You see all these other parents parading their bodies, looking like they never had a child, and you're thinking, why is she looking like that and I'm looking like that, right? What is going on here? But social media is not real life. And I think you know that, but we tend to forget about it. It's very easy to just compare yourself to other people and to think that you're not enough or that you're doing something wrong. Social media, again, is not real life. There are so many filters on social media that you can use to look better. And there's makeup, there's lots of things that just angles. So don't trust what you see on social media. I really don't think that those people wake up in the morning looking the way that they look on their Instagram reels. So if you find yourself comparing yourself often to whatever standards you see online, please do yourself a favor and step away from that. You don't have to consume all that information. You can choose to say, I don't need that. I don't need that input. You choose what comes, in. So choose to say, I don't want to take that in. At least for the moment, if it is triggering for you to see that. I still think that it's, again, very normal to judge your body, look at yourself. And so here's two things to do instead. So instead of looking at the external appearances and only looking at what you don't like when you see yourself, focus more on what your body is doing for you instead of what it looks like. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh yeah, that sounds great, but it's really hard. Yes, with everything that we do that is new, it's hard at the beginning. That's quite normal. And you don't have to pressure yourself into doing this fully. You can just start with something really small. It's like, for example, what do I mean by appreciating our bodies in the first place? So when you look at, for example, your tummy and you look at a mama tummy, you know what I mean? Instead of thinking, oh, gosh, I wish this was gone, you can also think of the fact that hosted your child for 9 months, and it's also hosting your organs right now. So without your belly, you wouldn't have your gut digesting the food that you're eating. You wouldn't have your pancreas secreting insulin and making sure you don't get into blood sugar shocks. You wouldn't have your liver making sure that you have energy and that toxins are being removed from the body. I mean, think about what these amazing things are happening in the body. So it's really shifting from what does my body look like to what is my body doing for me? And that can be so beautiful. It's really cultivating a sense of appreciation with the body. Just imagine how your life would be if you had that. I actually really think that our bodies are listening to what we're thinking, and our cells are listening to what we're thinking, and I think our cells are craving for appreciation. And I don't know how many moms who gave birth actually take a moment to take a step back and really think about the amazing feat of creating, bringing forth and nurturing new life, giving life where none existed. Your body is miraculous. Your body is miraculous. Let that sit for a moment. Maybe you never thought about it this way, but your body is truly miraculous. And this is just a really important reframe that really helps us reconnect to the body and develop a much more helpful relationship with it. And there's a word that a colleague of mine once used a few years ago, and it really stuck with me, and I wanna share it with you. She said that our body is the only vessel that we will ever live in. This is the body we were born with. This is the body that went through all the things it went through, but it is a vessel that allows us to live the life that we're living. And I mean, for me, that word really made me think about my body in a very different way. Maybe it will have the same effect on you. But yeah, it's about appreciating how strong and how resilient this body is, and learning to see what our body is doing for us, perhaps for the first time ever. Also, this vessel is not just hosting our organs, it's also hosting our heart and our soul. And that brings me to the second point of what to do, when I look at myself in the mirror and I don't like what I see. So our body is not just our physical body, it's also what's inside. And so your heart, your soul are part of your body, and they need nourishment. They can get nourishment in many different ways. They need social connection, for example. So being with people that makes you feel good is nourishing for the soul and the heart. Doing things that bring you joy. And I know what you're going to say, I don't have time to do anything. And I know you have very little time, but that little time that you have, use it to do something that actually brings you joy, that makes you feel positive emotions. And it's not only about happiness, it can just be a sense of flow, a sense of awe, a sense of serenity, right? All of these things are positive emotions. So allow yourself to really nourish your body from the inside out. I really think that these are important messages also for our children. When I start thinking about these things, I always think about what I want to model for my children. And I would love to model for my 2 daughters. I would love for them to see me as somebody who appreciates their body. Appreciates it enough to give it what it needs, to tend to its physical needs and to its mental, emotional, spiritual needs. And especially because they're girls. I mean, I think that it would be the same if I had a son, but I think because they're girls, and I think because we have this stigma sometimes that our bodies are just problematic, right? A woman's body is problematic. No, a woman's body is amazing. And you might intellectually think about it, but do you really feel it? Because that's the question. Yeah, of course, pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. But how do you feel about your own body? So that's what we're talking about in this video. It's about how you feel about your own body. So I would encourage you, if this video resonated with you, just take a time to just reflect about what this means for you. Do you also suffer from this rocky relationship with the body? And maybe it's been a while since you've had your children and you still feel like that disconnect is there. It's never too late to bring it back. I believe that if we all showed more appreciation and more respect to our bodies, then we will probably also show appreciation and respect to other people, and then ultimately the world would be a better place. If you enjoyed this video, please like it below, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon.